We have been through the Grievance Redressal system and Data Protection Board. In this video, I am going to summarize the challenges faced by the various stakeholders in the overall data privacy process while handling the grievance system. Challenges related to the grievance management system. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see new content on data privacy. And as I mentioned, let's summarize the challenges that are faced by the various stakeholders involved into the Grievance Redressal system. So who are the various stakeholders? First of all, the data principals, the data fiduciary, the data processors, and the data protection board. These are the four key stakeholders involved in the overall gamut of data privacy and data protection. Let's get into details of each one of them. So we begin with data principals. Who are the data principals? These are the individuals whose personal data is being processed. And as per the Indian DPDP Act, we say data getting collected, getting stored, getting used, getting disclosed, that is third party sharing of data, or getting deleted in your custody. And the law also says that it should be digitized format of data. So the people whose data is going through any of these five processes are the data principals. And what are the challenges they face in Grievance Redressal system, which by the way means a system created to receive their complaints if they are not satisfied with the way their data is being handled by a fiduciary or a processor. So the challenges they face include lack of awareness about the grievance system itself. All individuals, we the normal citizens of the country, are we even aware that someone collected our data and is processing? And then are we even aware that they have a grievance redressal system? Maybe for people like you and me it is easy, but in the deeper parts of the country, are people aware of that if they see data being misused, can they complain? Where can they complain? How to file and where to file their grievance? And are there any barriers? For example, the language barriers, how to use the digital services. That's why when we are talking about the best practices for a fiduciary, we did speak about having an online app for grievance redressal, right? That could be handy. But again, the language barrier on the local cities and states in the country then could be a bit more wider area for the fiduciaries to look at. Then what about delayed complaint resolutions and lack of satisfaction by a resolution of complaint? So while someone may cross all the above barriers and move on and file a grievance, if there is a delay and a longer delay than expected in getting his grievance answered, they can lose patience. It happens with everyone at any level. And if you're not satisfied with the resolution, and again it's a tedious process to go to the next step, talk to here, go and file a complaint with the board, go and file a complaint with the court, the judicial recourse, which we are going to discuss in the next video, then people would stop following it up. Maybe even in bigger cases, criminal type cases also, people end up withdrawing their complaints because they are not very happy with the grievance system, right? So these are the kind of challenges that a data principal will face. When it comes to a fiduciary, the organization who is processing the data, either by themselves internally or outsourced to a data processor, they are the ones who are defining how the data processor will process their data. His challenge is, what is the quantum of grievances he receives, the volume of complaints? How does he build a robust system that can handle that large volumes of complaints and ensure that there is a compliance with the data protection board? It's not so easy. Again, that's another difficult task that involves a lot of cost. It's like saying completely defining a new business stream within your business. And then there are risks of unwanted escalations. You would also get a lot of grievances which may not be even valid grievances because they do not fall into the data subject rights of the principals, but the principal is not aware of it. And then you also carry the risk that if you are not satisfying him, he may go to the board. Well, that's okay, but on the other side, the board will come on with the investigation and your workload would further increase. So that's another big challenge that fiduciaries would be facing and fiduciaries worldwide face with such kind of situations about unwanted escalations and creating a balance between the legal and the operational obligations, right? How to handle the operational things versus how to handle the legal issues. Then come data processors. These are the people who actually process the data. The organization that is actually processing your personal data. This could be fiduciary itself, internal, could be outside, but even internal, it's a part of the large organization who may not be directly talking to the data principal, may not even have an access to the data principal. So He does not even understand the grievance properly, because the grievance came to the grievance team, grievance came to the marketing team, grievance came to the fiduciaries data collection team or the privacy team. Right? Grievance can come from any side. It could be a marketing related processing, it could be a HR related processing. So the processor does not even have an access to the person who is filing the grievance. So he has his own challenges of handling it. He has to communicate with the fiduciary or the intermediary department and understand from them, which may not be the correct understanding also in most cases. They are completely dependent on the fiduciary, and there will be a concern about their own accountability in the entire chain. So if the processor is outsourced, then the roles have to be very clearly defined. If the grievance is such that it is related to collection of data which this processor is not doing, is only processing data someone else collected for it, maybe fiduciary collected for him, so then how is he responsible for handling it, or how is he accountable for it? For example, say right to access. It may not be a processor's job. He needs to make sure that his contract with fiduciary says whether the processor is going to handle a right to access or whether the fiduciary, because the data has come from the fiduciary. So fiduciary can give the access to the user, and if it comes that there needs to be a modification, change in the data, or maybe erasure or pause of a particular process, then of course then it can be further passed on to the processor. But then considering that fiduciary has to respond in 30 days, the timeline for processor would be reduced. And then we come on to, and then as I said, who owns the grievance actually? Is it fiduciary or the processor? And then finally we come on to the board. Again, the board is the regulatory authority. They have other works like checking the basic compliance, provide protection and privacy guidelines, best practices, and then they have to handle a large volume of grievances. Again, they also have to build a robust dedicated system, allocate their resources for it, and every time they have to perform a detailed investigations. Again, they can also face situations where the complaint logged is of a user right, which may not exist, but it's because of lack of awareness or education to the data principle itself, right? So they would also have semi-fake or fake kind of complaints, as you may call them. But they have to do the investigation, they have to do follow-up, and they have to ensure that they are doing a fair and justified job. So what should be a good role of a deep data protection board in mitigating these challenges? They should provide a clear guideline to stakeholders, how they have to handle the personal data. They should provide and run regular awareness campaigns for the user rights, as they should be known to the principals. They need to conduct detailed investigation because they have to be staying fair and neutral. They can't take chances. They have to ensure transparency and accountability in handling the personal data of the citizens of the country. So that's about the challenges of handling a grievance system by the various stakeholders. We spoke about principals, fiduciaries, processors, and finally about the board, and the good things that board can do to minimize the complaints and have a more robust systems all across. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you like the content of the video. Please press the bell and the like icon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already done that, and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.